What do we do? Develop a digital revolution to give access to people. Because I think this is the cry. And of course, Ganapati frequently says his geography has become history. So the distance is really no matter in telemedicine or telehealth. If that is, can we really put that into place using the methodologies that are now, tools that are now available? The second thing is, how can we further access the quality of care? We know there is a great satisfaction for all of us today, as doctors saying, we are making a big difference in treating majority of the diseases according to us in the best possible way. But according to us, best possible way is not really the very best. So I think the digital utilization and bringing the processes, aggravation, could bring to that perfection in the delivery of care. And finally, the cost benefit. Cost benefit is very clear. They've already said, but I know when we first started this telemedicine, between 100 miles, it was prohibitive cost for the patient. Even if the doctor said, I don't charge you anything, unfortunately the cost was tremendous. I hope we would be able to solve that cost through the revolution. All that I want to add on is to saying that we have great responsibility. You have demonstrated your responsibility and eagerness by participating in this wonderful conference in these 2 days, where we are not only going to talk about how do we revolutionize the way we care, how do we also revolutionize the way we think about the patient. I think ultimately, it's a great effort. I'm very pleased, and I congratulate every one of you for having participated in the conference. Let's walk home and then say, let's take these ideas and say, I will make a difference to a lot of people who never had an access or an advantage to good health care. It's in ordinary terms to say universal health care is very essential. In the normal languages, we used to say health is wealth. So if that's what it is, we can create a tremendous amount of wealth by improving the health of our countries. Some of the problems I cannot but mention. Being a cardiologist, Apollo, having started because of that one patient dying of heart disease and was deprived of the care, and today we are facing unprecedented pandemic. These non-communicable diseases. When UN held their first meeting in September 11, I see Preeta there. She also attended that first convention of the UN in September 11 on NCDs. We used to think that we are facing a huge problem with diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. And they have projected some figures. And believe me, whatever they projected for the 2012, it all crossed in 2007. The figures that they had given for the diabetes or heart disease, by 2020, we are going to cross before 2015. So it's truly a horrifying health scenario that we are facing, especially in this part of the world. I don't want to use the word, but we said we have 3 major gold medals. We have the diabetic capital of the world, heart capital of the world, and cancer capital of the world. We don't want these medals, and this is where all of you can help us. And by helping us to build these solutions, I'm sure we will be able to take a lot of other things for several billions of people. Because India has got the unique advantage of the numbers. Sometimes these numbers, 1 billion, everyone said was a disadvantage. For health, I think it's an advantage today if you can apply today's thought process and the availability of the new tools which did not exist before. I sincerely hope that we will have a participatory action plans and then work and then see. Next time we review, it is not going to be saying what can be done. I think we would like to hear saying, Sangeeta, you'll probably get an action report saying, these are already happening. They have already made an impact on millions of people. They have already made a big, significant difference in bringing this awareness of heart disease. They have taken the people. Truly what I would like to see is bring a personalized health care. Can we make the individual own his health? He does everything else. And he has a tool in his hand, and what you need is to empower him to use that tool so that he owns his health care. There is no way, if this is what is a pandemic, there is no way, even if Apollo builds not another 60 hospitals, even if you build another 160 hospitals, and all others join in this force, that is not going to be enough to tackle this health crisis that exists in India, similarly in all other countries. I'm just bringing India because it's 1 billion people. But what I think can be done, if we can use this technology to bring the ownership to the individual. This is why I said Apollo's new mantra we want to create is the word called stay healthy. Stay healthy does not mean we'll stop treating people. We'll treat people and see how they can stay well. I have a granddaughter of mine who is playing great emphasis on wellness. Wellness for patients, wellness for people who are well and to stay healthy. I think the all-round utilization of these breakthrough technologies that have been described this morning, and the promise that it's going to be available for all people should give us that impetus to make this as a significant day and probably call it as a Cyberabad declaration for better health. Good luck. God bless all of you.
Thank you, sir. Your unbridled enthusiasm as the youngest person in this audience is truly infectious and contagious. It is said that a dwarf standing on the shoulders of a giant sees farther than the giant himself. Even though it may look ridiculous, I think every one of us belonging to the next generation are going to challenge you and tell you that we will do our best to do even better than what you did. As chairman of the scientific committee, it is my privilege to have the last word in this session. Before I formally thank the dozens of people who made this happen, I cannot resist sharing with you a few of my thoughts. When Marty Cooper invented the cell phone in 1973, he could never ever have foreseen that he would be disproving Charles Darwin's hypothesis. According to Darwin, from the days of the Big Bang, it has taken tens of thousands of years for a new species to evolve. Marty reduced this to just 4 decades. Interestingly, the speed of mutation is more in the emerging economies. Today, this new species, Homo mobilicus, numbers 5.5 out of 7 billion Homo sapiens. As one belonging to the BC era, before computers and before Christ are one and the same, to me, chips were something you ate. Discs were part of the spinal column. Tablet was something a doctor prescribed. Semiconductors were people wishing they were heading an orchestra, and I was taught that out of sight is out of mind. To Homo mobilicus, none of this is true. If we watch video 24 hours a day, it will take 1,000 years for us to see all the videos which are currently on YouTube. 168 million emails are sent every minute throughout the world. Obviously, we are in a stage of transition. All transitions offer great opportunities for radical transformations. However, 21st century problems cannot be solved with 20th century solutions. The illiterate of the 21st century is not one who does not know how to read and write, but one who has not accepted the fact that he must unlearn and relearn. To those of us who are not willing to unlearn and relearn, we certainly are illiterates of the 21st century. We have a long way to go before we achieve literacy. Unlearning and relearning should become a part of our DNA. Change management should be the order of the day. Conferences like this, I think, certainly help create the much needed awareness. I love the word DIY, do it yourself. Why can't we take more part in participation in healthcare system? As it is, Professor Google and Dr. Facebook, I'm afraid, is going to make me a member of an endangered species. And I think in a few years from now, I as a clinician probably will have a very small role to play. This conference is about building a staircase when we are taking the first step without even seeing the staircase. It was Mahatma Gandhi who said, be the change you want to see in others. And I think people sitting in this room, if we are not the change, how can we expect to radically transform healthcare? It is indeed most heartening to see this conference grow year in year, quality and quantity. 27 specialists from various countries, Sangeeta has already mentioned this, have all participated, and every one of them have come on their own. Thank you to all the overseas delegates, and of course to the delegates from India who have come from different parts. Believe me, taking into account the arrival and departure plans of every speaker, not having a speaker in the last session on the last day, if someone could tell me how to run a conference without a last session and a last day, I would be very helpful. Is to say the least a very interesting task. The commitment and enthusiasm of all the speakers have been absolutely fantastic. Again, this conference is unique in several ways. I understand about an hour ago, there were more than 300 people who were online from about 17 different countries. Right now, I do not know how many are watching us, but this, I think, is the future where webcasting is going to become a routine. I could go on and on, but I would just like to thank, as you can see in the board here, our gold sponsors, Orange Business Services,